It was diabolical.
It was so diabolical. Also,
and Ru feigning surprise and ignorance and what?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 6, Episode 7. Woo! My iPad's being weird, so I have to use my phone. So I'm going to be holding my phone while we do this to talk about it.
He's not being rude to me. It's fine.
Gooped. Gagged. Gallywagged.
Okay.
I even kind of warned you. I mean, I didn't give you context.
No, you did. You were like, something happens and it's fucking batshit. And so I was waiting the entire time, and I literally was like, oh, it's got to be this thing at the beginning when Jan just starts talking out her ass again for no reason. Literally, everybody, silence.
Apropos of nothing.
Silence. Jan, so I see that there's two people who've never won before. How are you feeling about that?
I was in the kitchen and you just go, Jan!
Bitch, no one asked. No one asked.
They also know.
They also know!
Pandora knows.
Pandora and Eureka both know they haven't won yet. I just feel like that's inside them already. You don't need to, like, jam it down their throats more.
Yeah, this was, as I mentioned, episode 7, Show Up Queens. Our guest judge was Zaldi, the designer.
Apparently responsible for many of Ru's looks.
He was hot.
Yeah.
I liked his toga sarong.
Just keep that ghost honey thing on. Like, oh, my nipple popped out.
And then the, like, high pony.
Yeah.
I was,
it was good.
very...
And I liked all of this. All the, like, at the shoulder that he had. Yeah.
Very for all of it. I don't know. The Jan thing. I keep saying, you know, these are real people, even though it's a reality show. I'm not in the business of actually slandering or attacking anybody's characters. You know, I am a fan of everybody on this cast.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, we're responding to a reality show, but this is a weird turn for Jan. And from what I've seen, the fandom's kind of turned on her.
I just like, Jan, you can be quiet. Just be quiet sometimes. This is not necessary to just, like, talk all the time. And, like, doubling down on the, like, cheery, peppy personality when literally everyone is like, that's the thing we don't like about you.
Well, I bet she misses being safe.
Yeah, right?
It's like the harder she tries, the further she gets.
100%.
And they were tasked with, apparently this is a thing with the show. We've only seen, you know, a handful, 6 seasons or so. So we're not quite experts, but apparently a lot of people watching this season have no clue what's happening. Okay. Because I saw a, like, review where the whole time I was like, so there are 2 groups, but then they were together the whole time.
They were together.
And I was very confused, but it ended up making sense in the end. They were tasked with performing. Well, they had to write a verse for a song called Show Up Queens. Yeah. And then each group had to create and perform their own choreography. They were given the...
but then they also, you're right, then they also did group choreography, all of them together. It was a little strange.
They were given the prompt of, like, inspiration, like self-help, kind of like... What?
So Jan's bright idea was to talk about how much she likes herself?
How amazing she is. And then she went first.
It's unbelievable. Literally everybody else was like, Kylie was like, I want to talk about my journey being trans. Trinity was like, I want to talk about my journey being HIV positive. They all were like, it took me so long to love myself. Eureka was like, I'm going to talk about my body image issues. And then Jan was just like, I'm
peppy.
I'm so amazing. And I was just like, ah. There was a lot of that Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Veep just going,
what the fuck?
You know, I like Pandora. I don't have a specific reason. I dig her shtick. I haven't seen the 2 seasons she was on prior, so I can't speak for.
So has she already done an All Stars? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I can't speak for who she was or what she did there. I can only speak for what I'm seeing here, but there's something she mentioned 2 episodes ago about how she was the twink and she's not anymore, and what's out there for an aging twink. And there's a real haze of vulnerability, and watching her trying to do the choreography, the dance stuff, I found it. There was a point where they were like, just because she was struggling with what the steps they were giving her.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, what would it look like if you just danced?
Do you know what it looked like? It looked like at the end of the first episode of The Umbrella Academy when Elliot Page is at the bottom of the steps and just starts doing this to I Think We're Alone Now. That's really what it looked like. And I was like, I love it. It's so cute.
She just was like, what did I write? It was very vulnerable, and it was sweet and shy. She just seemed so shy. And it's like, I don't want to put words in her mouth or like put a filter over, her edit, but it's like, it seemed like she's unsure how to be the center of attention anymore.
Yeah.
Because when you're the hot young thing, it's very easy to like brag and like, I don't know.
I think there's one more layer to it also, because I think she probably knows exactly how to be the center of attention when she's doing her drag, because like she looked great in that 50s dress at the end for the like tropical thing. Amazing.
I even liked her look in Show Queen. There was one shot that they cut to her just doing this.
Yeah.
And both times I like laughed out loud. Yeah. I was like, I don't know what this is.
But that's the thing, is I think she's vulnerable and uncomfortable trying to do other people's drag, which is like what all of these challenges are. And that is probably her biggest downfall, is that she's not there with everything.
Well, and we're at this point in the competition, and at this point in this competition, as we've said several times, everybody's good.
Yeah.
We're phrasing these things like Pandora's not good enough, and that's not the case. It's that such and such is doing better.
Yeah.
Like it's not that you're doing poorly. It's just that someone else is better. I don't know.
Well, what's interesting to me too is I kind of wonder at what point because you said this is her third time on a thing. At what point in your Drag Race journey do you decide to like go take dance lessons? You know what I mean? I'm just like legitimately out of curiosity.
No, it's what people have said, where it's like, how are we still getting queens who can't sew? It's like, why would you ever even,
go to Joanne's.
Just take a 101 class.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like there was like time between her, because I think she was I think it was like season 2.
I think so, yeah.
And then it was like All Stars 1 and now All Stars 6, because that's another thing is I think Pandora and Kylie were on the same season, and it's weird how much they don't talk.
Yeah, they don't talk at all.
Like
almost at all.
We've hardly seen.
Yeah.
So
maybe they weren't close on their season. So
I'm thinking I think I'm finally ready to bite the bullet and start at 1. There's only like 9 episodes in 1. And so I'm like, maybe we should just go ahead and plow through. Because I'm fucking loving it. But and now that we have so much more familiarity with so many of them, I think it'll be interesting. But so watching this, I was trying to figure out who I thought was going to win and who were my front runners. And I boiled it down to, honestly, my front runners, and I guess I should have waited till the end of the episode, but whatever. We're having a conversation. My front runners are Kylie, Sonique, and Raja.
Yeah, no, I think I'm there.
The Raja surprised me a little bit.
Though also, it's possible that depending on whose like strategies or whatever, she's put herself up there, but like Trinity has a shot.
So I think
double.
I think Trinity is the clear front runner, and I like Trinity. I cannot stress this enough. I like Trinity. She's just not my favorite.
Yeah, no, that's
she's
fair.
Not doing like that Carnival look.
Yeah,
I understand completely what went into it. I mean, she even said it's $175,000 worth of feathers.
Yeah,
it didn't work for me. It wasn't.
Also, how do you have $175,000 worth of feathers? You're talking about buying a used car. Is it because you have $175,000 worth of fethers? Is that where you put all your money?
It could have been loaned. It could have been like there's things that I don't know, but because that honestly that's where I like Trinity the most.
Yeah,
is her talking heads.
Sure.
I think she is so funny.
2 times in this episode, she was like, "I'm gonna go buy a used car."
And a deep freeze full of meat. Stacked full of meat.
I was like, that's a Wisconsin special, and she's not even from there.
It's just she's so aware of what is within her grasp, of what's attainable to her. And she was like, you don't want payments. You want to pay that thing off.
Just get it done. One
and
payment.
it's so funny. And especially because it's like, considering that she's the one with 2 wins, she's lost both of her lip syncs.
Yeah.
And then they managed to double screw her in the end by having to throw Jan under the bus. And she was like, this is some bullshit. Like, it was diabolical.
It was so diabolical. Also,
and Rue feigning surprise and ignorance and what?
Yeah. Okay, so the lip sync assassin was Alexis Mateo, who we are unfamiliar with, but she did amazing. She had a reveal and everything that was into like a shimmery thing. I really dug it.
To forgotten absolute banger, Dance Again. J-Lo, 2011 was.
Yep. Okay, so this bitch pulls out Pandora's lipstick. We're all like, yeah, no, makes sense. Fine, whatever. And then she goes, oh, but also I have another lipstick. And I was like, oh my God.
So
straight down the middle.
But my favorite part is they let Jan think she was off the hook.
I know. She was like trying to give a consolation hug to Pandora.
And then this like theater of the absurd plays out in front of her. And
then on her face. Oh,
because then I was like, oh no, they're both going home. Yeah. And then I was like, no, just Jan. We just had to goop her. Like, we just had to make sure that we dangled the carrot in front of her one more time. She's gonna shoot up the studio. Like, she's going
she bragged twice in this episode about how her grandmother wrote a strongly worded letter to RuPaul. And I was like, yes, famous people famously love that. Love getting just ripped on,
and again,
by relatives.
I think Jan's great, but she leaves on the note of, they must have seen me as competition.
Jan, my girl, killing me.
I was like, in the way that like 8:30 at night is competition for the summer sun. Like, it's setting. Your time has passed. Like, it was, oh, man.
No, I'm with you, too. I really like Jan. I'm a fan of Jan's drag. I just think that Jan took the opposite of the notes for most of this season.
So you're saying I need to try harder?
Like, no, try less hard.
No, be better.
Just be yourself.
Yeah, the Show Up Queens, the surprisingly catchy and effective, very Beyonce Homecoming. Yeah. All of the looks, honestly, were great. I thought the boots, Raja's boots were inexcusable once they pointed them out.
Yes, but someone had to point it out to me. Yeah, is the thing. Like, as a lay person watching this, someone had to point out, because I was focusing on the rest of her. I wasn't looking at her.
Well, she was so good. And then, of course, Ginger, because I also like I said, I like all of them. Yeah. Like, if Ginger wins this, fine. Yeah. I'm fine with it. But it's like the two that I'm really resonating with are Kylie and Raja. And like I said, the Raja one snuck up on me. I don't know at what specific point it was. I mean, she's tall and willowy with big eyes. I love that. The runway, I particularly liked this runway.
It was good.
Hot Tropics. There's ways you could interpret it, and most of them went kind of the same way, or
oh my God, that was the other Jan thing, was when she came out in her Hot Tropics thing, and she just goes, "What's more tropical than Jersey?" And I was like, anywhere
70% more of the
anywhere that's more south than that is more tropical.
The entire like, southern hemisphere and half of northern, like,
it snows in Jersey.
The obvious thing, I think, was the J-Lo Versace, and both Jan and Ginger kind of did that. Yeah. I guess I probably, on look alone, I probably would have preferred Jan's.
Yeah.
Because there was a little bit more color in a way that Ginger's was just green and white.
It's like a caftan. It was cute. I liked it.
I did like her J-Lo Devereaux thing.
That was very funny.
Fucking Raja had the audacity to walk that red carpet in a bikini.
But it worked.
If ever there was a challenge where because both that and Eureka with the beach ball. Was that your favorite?
That was my favorite. It's so, that's the thing is, I think that for me, it's Raja and Eureka in the top for my favorite. Because I like Kylie a lot, but there's something about Eureka's sense of humor in a lot of her looks that I just, like, she came out as a beach ball. First of all, it's poking fun at herself. Second of all, it is a clean look, if it's anything. And third of all, she had also literal beach ball. It was
because Michelle herself said, "Let's be honest, this is a jumpsuit. This is like a bodysuit,
like a leotard." Yeah,
and she was like, "But it's good. Like if you were gonna take a risk, at least do it well."
Plus, again, tropical. It's a beach ball. It's hilarious. I was like so into it, and plus all white. I loved it.
And that going back to Raja, it like a huge thing for me was the wig. It was the blonde dreads and the head wrap. She was just. And I mean, she had the padding, she had the fishnets, like she was in full drag, but she looked like in like the 90s, the Ice Capades had a deal with Barbie. And they did like Barbie on ice, and there was this whole Malibu like thing.
Okay, Malibu Barbie on ice.
That's what it was giving me, and I was so Pandora's was solid, but she's not elevating the way that so many of the rest of them are.
Next to the rest of them, hers is plain and a little boring. I do, though, feel extremely bad for her next week.
It's like a foregone. I mean, unless she knocks Smash Game out.
Well, it's not even necessarily that. I just feel bad for her having to be there. Because it's not like I mean, Jan is better, I guess, but it's like, to know how close you were and that it was just a weird glitch of the rules, I like wouldn't feel great about that.
So honestly, and this is including, you know, like the aforementioned Trinity in the Carnival, my favorite look was Kylie's. Yeah,
it was very good.
This green Tropicana, it was simple. Well, it wasn't. I was going to say it was a simple silhouette. It was like also like a corset, like a bodysuit.
But she had like feathers everywhere.
But it was this like Tropicana, like the jewels, the beading, the makeup, her ass, her tits, like the glitter.
I was gonna say her both ass cheeks in the back.
Oh my God, when she turned around and she like, because she is one of the quieter, like one of the more reserved, and we're getting these flourishes from her. Yeah. I laughed out loud when she left the voting booth and turned around and posed.
Yes.
It was so good. So
I also laughed at the beginning because they were her and Ginger and Eureka were trying to figure out what they were going to wear for their performance. And she just goes, "I've got this cat suit. What do you guys have?" And honestly,
all three of them had cat suits.
And they were all in the same color palette, but she just looked at them and goes, "We're all fighting crime in different cities." It was so funny.
She keeps finding herself in positions of leadership, and that's not what she does.
Yeah.
But it's working. So it's kind of neither here nor there, but there was like a slight back and forth with Ginger and Trinity, and these are the places where Trinity is not quite my queen, because she's justified every single time, but it's like maybe she just people come from too different of places.
Sure.
Because Ginger chimed in and was like,
Pandora was struggling and was like, "You need to make sure that everybody's, you know."
Believe me, I get it. Unsolicited advice.
Sure, but then, like, why are they all in the room together? I mean, you know, and I think that came from a truly good place in Ginger's
heart. Absolutely did. Yeah. Because as she was doing it, she was kind of like,
I shouldn't be doing
yeah. Because she even said, "I'll just shut up." And it's like, I just feel like Trinity got a little too... but I mean, I get it, but nah, yeah.
It's because, like, Trinity ended up taking the note, but then she was like, "I mean, where does she get off? Blah, 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 blah." And I was like, her note helped you...
Actually,
because it was after the note from Ginger when they were like, "Okay, Pandora, what would you do if you were just dancing?" As opposed to trying to learn the choreography. And that was so much better and so much smarter.
Yeah, it was a good episode. You know, it was very focused on the one challenge, which
it's fine.
Paid off fine.
I like that.
Like I said, a better runway, I think. We kind of, especially me, I phoned in my critiques last week on the Goth when I was like when I was editing our episode. I was like, really? Eureka was what I had things to say about. Like, Trinity's look was fantastic. Yeah. You want to talk about a good look? Jan's look last week was owned great. That. We barely mentioned it. So sorry if you're a devout follower and we really phoned in that criticism, or that assessment. But yeah, I think that's it. As mentioned, I think we have Snatch Game next week. We still have the game within a game. Scarlett's been running her mouth a little bit. It's been fun. It's been interesting. Well, no, even there's
like an interview.
I can't think of the name of the club. There's like a club that does viewing parties, and she was there, and they were talking about like the game within a game, and she was like, "Yeah, we're all sitting in a van in the parking lot for 3 days." She was like, "It was terrible."
God.
So I think that they're just going to have them like somehow vote in something.
Oh God.
Because even Trixie said in Pit Stop, or Trixie was like, "This is COVID. Like they're somewhere in a motel, like quarantined." And I like, honestly, I think they have them in like a trailer or two in the parking lot to do like a weird council of your peers thing. I think it's going to be disappointing when we get to it.
I'm leaning that way now because we like have to be halfway through the season.
I was gonna say, because anything that we would have liked would have already happened.
It hasn't come to pass yet, so yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like whatever. So
all right.
So yeah, I guess we'll check back in next week.
Yay.
And hope you show up, Queen. Tell you what I need. Da, 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 da.
Went into a medieval fanfare there for a minute.
I was doing the show up.
Ah.
Not.
You heard that's what you do.